Hey, what's up, geeks? Darron Brown here, and in this video we're going to discuss how COVID has impacted software developers. Now let's get into it. Now, the first way that COVID impacted software developers was working from home. I remember just being in the office. I'm sure if you're working as a software developer currently, you can relate to this. I know I'm in the office, I come into work every day, do my 8 hours, and then I go home. Once COVID hit, I was working from home, and honestly, I felt like a lot of weight was off my shoulders. I could focus on my work, and then I didn't have to deal with other people's energies. I know there were some people who I worked with, and they were kind of lonely. They didn't like the adjustment to working home, but after a few months, everybody was kind of like, hey, I kind of like it. I have my coffee maker next to me, have my treadmill right here. If I want to go for a walk, I can go for a walk, etc. It gave people a lot of freedom to do their job and to also be their individual self. So that's the number one thing. And I believe that just me, I had a few interviews with a few companies, and one of the things that we talk about is that I don't think it's ever going to go back to the way it was for software developers, because people had to rent out this commercial real estate. They have to rent out these buildings to companies. These companies have to get space to actually fit these engineers in. But now, because they know that they can do their job from home, there's no reason for these companies to actually rent them that extra space, and they're actually saving money. So I think as a software engineer, this is going to be like the long-term working from home. So that's the first and number one way that I can see that how COVID has impacted software engineers. The way that COVID has actually impacted software engineers is easily finding work, and this is for people who are experienced engineers. I know for a fact that I've had a plethora of companies reach out to me in the last month. I actually get I want to say about 3 or 4 new companies that reach out to me every day for a job. And one thing that I've noticed is that these companies are more likely to negotiate with you now, because I have companies from Mississippi, companies from Texas, companies from New York, companies from, I think not Alabama, Arkansas. Places that I'm not moving to. But I'm getting people from all over the country reaching out to me for employment. And if they don't meet my price, I can comfortably walk away. So a lot of these companies, they're in competition. They understand they're in competition for good developers, and there aren't too many good mobile developers. This is what a woman had told me word for word, that you get engineers who have had years of experience, but they only dabbled in React Native. I'm a purely React Native developer, so that gives me 5 years of experience over other developers who may have just dabbled in it for a few months. So this puts me in a position where I can actually negotiate for a higher wage. So that's one of the biggest impacts. That's another big impact that I see as far as how COVID has impacted me as a software engineer. So I kind of skipped ahead and already spoke about how I have more control over my wage. Now, the con that I'm actually going to get into is that this isn't something that I'm going to experience because I have years of experience, but people who are new to software development, they may have an issue when it comes to actually getting hired now. A lot of these smaller roles that are like, say they want it's a junior engineer, probably somebody 1 year experience. Now those junior engineers are in competition with people who have been in the industry for years. The reason this is happening is because the lack of mentorship. When people first got out of college, or even internships, I'm sure internships have been impacted by COVID. When people first got out of college, they will get hired on by a company who felt this person had the potential to become a good engineer, or the guy fit the company culture. Now that people are working at home, company culture doesn't matter necessarily. People just want to know if you can do your job. And because you're not working in an office anymore, it's going to be a lot harder for a junior engineer to get help from other engineers. Before, like for example, when I first got on, I was the only React Native mobile developer, but there were other developers, engineers that worked with different tech stacks, and they can help me think through certain problems, or they can help me just learn about a certain way how software development even works on an industry professional level. Now, when you're straight into that industry, you don't have those developers next to you to actually help guide you along the way. So that's why mentorship is going to be very important for software developers in the future. Because now, not only do you not learn these skills in school, school doesn't teach you how to become a professional engineer. School teaches you how to think through algorithms. And the reason that the school doesn't get you ready for like professional web or mobile development is because, I mean, if you guys have used Xcode or anything else, there's always updates to that. The code is always changing, the tools are always changing. So if you're going to get a teacher on an academic level, if that teacher is going to successfully stick to the curriculum, that teacher is going to have to choose a language that may not be popular, but it doesn't change. It's constant, year in and year out. Actually teach you algorithms in a more predictable format. Now that you're working so when you get into actually the professional world, you're not going to be using what you use in college. You're going to be using the most common tools. That can be Python, PHP, JavaScript. It could be React, Angular. Ionic. There's a lot of different tools that you can use. But the thing is that you're going to have to learn how to use these tools. That's why it's important that you guys have some kind of mentor. I believe online tutoring is going to be the future, or like online courses are going to be the future. Because you can learn you can buy a book, or you could actually look at some kind of like tutorial on YouTube, but you won't get the in-depth knowledge behind that. And those developers, because you're not putting any kind of money in there, they're less likely to take time out of their day to help you. So, if you guys are interested in learning React Native, definitely you can purchase one of my courses and you can work with me. Or if you're going to, if you're going to purchase courses from anybody else, I wouldn't advise you to go through like Udemy or Lynda, because a lot of those courses are kind of outdated. They have a collection of different teachers on those platforms. So if you're interested in becoming any kind of developer, I would look for a resource that focuses solely on that tool, so it allows you to build a closer relationship with the people who are actually teaching those courses. And then once you build that relationship, they're more likely to take time, respond to emails and take time out of their day to actually help you thoroughly understand a specific tool. Now that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. If you have any more questions, leave a comment below. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. Alright, so I'll catch you next time. Peace.